Hello there, and live from the Heartland, it is high noon in the Heartland, high noon Central Time. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. It is our privilege and honor to have you here with us as we try to give you some tools that you need to guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, be your own guru. In short, to unindoctrinate yourself. Today, I'm going to bring to you something very, very surprising. I discovered quite by accident a new Mandela Effect when I was trying to find a verse that I know was in the scriptures and is no longer there. And, I was one of the first Mandela Effect people. I came in kicking and screaming and wrote this book. And it was featured on Coast to Coast AM. And I didn't really believe in the Mandela Effect, didn't want to believe in the Mandela Effect, kept getting questions about it, opened the scripture and started studying it. And wow, came to find out it was prophesied by Daniel. I'm not going into the contents of this book, but you can pick it up on my website, jeffreydaugherty.com. At any rate, one of the big things about people saying there's a Mandela Effect is people saying that the Bible's been changed. And yes and no, yes and no. The Bible has been changed, but it's been changed only, I think, in this being that I'm going to talk to you now, maybe the second place, third place, very, 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 very few Bible changes. Let me tell you why people think there's been so many, but there hasn't been. Because there's a lot of different translations. And people, let's be frank and honest, most of you haven't ever read the Bible from start to finish. Can we just be honest amongst each other? We're all friends here. Most of you have never read it from start to finish. So when something doesn't quite, you really are misremembering. And then with the proliferation of different translations, I'm talking about the original Greek being changed. I'm talking about the original Hebrew being changed, like lion lying down with the lamb being wolf lying down with the lamb. That's a change. No doubt about it. And this one, ladies and gentlemen, is a change. No doubt about it. As much as I hate to say it, because I hate to be the pin the tail on the Mandela Effect guy, because the Mandela Effect just isn't as widespread as most people want to think and believe that it is. And I say this with 20 years as a Protestant minister. I say this with a Bible college degree. I say this with over 100,000 hours of study in the Christian scripture. So be that what it may, that's kind of serves as an introduction to what we're going to talk about tonight. Travis Thorpe, nice to see you in the house today. Lisa Gallant, nice to see you. Blue Rose, nice to see you. Thank you for your service there to the folks that you're caring for. Ricardo, nice to see you, and thank you so much for the kind words. Material Classified, Nancy, hello. Robert Nicolette, thank you so much. I appreciate those kind words again. The ever-present Tracy Dyer, Stephanie O'Neill, True Penny. I'm glad you're on a false penny. Sorry, got to keep the throat lubricated, folks. Never trust. You know what? That's actually a pretty good mantra. And Never Trust says, love this show. My beliefs are challenged by this channel. At first, Jeffrey hit my nerves, but my inner self wouldn't let me be too offended. That's what it's all about right there. Thank you, Never Trust, for hanging in. Blue Rose, Natalie is in the house. Nice to see you. Kay Downey, Lit T, J.R. Herrera, Serial Dog TT, Freeman King, Renaissance Woman. It's been a minute. Hello to you in South Africa. Heather Cooper, Jennifer Roberts over in the UK. Nice to see you. Luxmaya, and I lost it. It jumped on me. Luxmaya Christus 1, a.k.a. Tracy J. Stafford. That's a long lot to say. And it's actually Stratford, not Stafford. Electric Crystals. One of my favorite people, Mark Center Saint. Joyce Marie. Travis Thorpe, 11B. We'll get Travis back on the channel before too long if he will come on. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Chad Nason, Marguerite Brandsma, Amanda Whitefields, Nikki Arrow Bones, Bill Hinckley, Shadow Spirit, Taryn Dawn, Jerry Smith, Sarah Smile. Wow, lots of people. B13, Juan Galvez from the mountains where they make the most aromatic coffee in the world. Can't remember exactly where that is. Chad's here, Jason's here, Wolf's here. So anyway, lots of people. And why do you have to say the names? Well, because I want to show respect for you taking the time to come here and be a part of this podcast excellence. So I am somebody loves me in Scotland. Thank you so much. Even though I'm Irish, you still love me in Scotland. I was going to do a study because I was talking with some people on a group that I used to be in. I just had to get out of the group. Throck, Geocentric, Colombia. That's right. From Colombia, Juan Galvez, Serial Dog. I just had to get out of it because it's just so much negativity, so much gloom and doom. But I was thinking that we can change and make our worlds according to the words and the energies and frequencies that we transmit. And so I thought immediately of that scripture that we all know, be in the world, but not of the world. So I went and started to study it. Nancy's in New Jersey, and I'm looking for it. I'm studying, I'm pulling up 41 scriptures about being in the world, going through the Strong's Concordance, in the world, of the world. And it's not there. It's not there, ladies and gentlemen. It is not there. And I'm telling you, on my 100,000 hours of study in the scriptures, on having read it over probably 200 times, being a preacher, it was there. It was Jesus who said it, or the central figure of the biblical mythos said, be in the world, but not of the world. And it's not there anymore, unless somehow I missed it. If you can find it, throw it in the chat. But that verse is not there anymore. No longer does it say, be in the world, but not of the world. Now, it says all around that, and it's tap dances all around that, but it doesn't say that. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, it used to be there. I hate to be the Mandela Effect guy, but that, cousins, is a Mandela Effect. How else can you describe it? How else can you? It's a change to a reality. And I'm going to try to get a show together with Robert Stanley and Greg Allison and Rex Bear and myself to talk about something that, and one of my friends named Michelle Thompson has also picked up on this, a concept that I'm loosely calling, and I'm going to ask Robert about it tonight. First thing I'm going to ask Robert about tonight on the show is, what about this, Robert? We have Robert Stanley tonight at 9 p.m. Central for The Last Stand. Jay Kimball, yours truly, Robert Stanley, for the full hour, maybe more. So for the full hour, maybe more, ladies and gentlemen. Tracy says it's in John 17. Let me look at that. 17 what, Tracy? Because I can't believe I missed it. But if I missed it, if anybody would find it, it would be Dyer. John 17. Let's see. You going to make me read the whole chapter? John 17. John 17. Yeah, but see, he doesn't say be in the world, but not of the world. It says they're in the world. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're in the world, but it doesn't say in the world, not of the world. Yeah, I've given them my word. The words hated them because they're not of the world, even as I am not of the world. I don't pray that you should take them out of the world, but thou shouldest keep them from evil. Now, this could be one of those cases. I doubt it, because there's cases like spare the rod, spoil the child was never a verse. You think it was, some of you, but it never was. So the mystery of that not being in the Bible is not a mystery, because it never was in the first place. I really don't think this is one of those places. I really don't think this is one of those places where I thought it said in the world, not of the world, because I used to preach this. And when you're a evangelist like I was, What an evangelist does is goes from church to church to church to church. And if you're good, you go back to the same churches every year because they want you back. So if you've got 15, 20 really good sermons, you can preach those for like 18 months. You just got to make sure you don't preach the same sermon back at the same church that you preached last year. See, that's the key. And I've seen it done before. And it's, I felt bad for the fellow. I felt real bad for the fellow. John 15:19 now. Dyer's throwing up at me. Let's see what John 15:19 says. I would love to be proven wrong. I really would. 15:19. If you were of this world, the world would love its own, but because you're not of this world, I've chosen. Again, it's not the verse that's good, Tracy, but that's not the verse that I'm thinking of. It clearly said, be ye in the world, but not of the world. So it's gone, ladies and gentlemen. It's gone. Like Jennifer Roberts says, don't wear the same dress to two parties. Absolutely right. And what do you do, ladies? Dudes, it's not a big deal. But ladies, if you show up at a party and there's some bitch wearing the same dress you got on, what do you do? What do you do? Men, we don't care. Doesn't happen that much. And I mean, hey, how many people wear black T-shirts and jeans, right? That's what dudes wear. But what do you ladies do? Just craziness. Anyway, that just came across my mind. I know it's silly, but we need to have a little bit of fun and we need to keep things a little bit light. Jennifer says she just rocks it more. Beth doesn't wear dresses. Never Trust says she wears it better. Lady Gray Raven says, tell her she has great taste. Same thing that B13 says. That's so funny. Blue Rose says when she was a Jehovah's Witness that this was a major topic about being in the world but not of the world. Absolutely, because the J-dubs are always talking about being not being in the world. Cynthia L says she'd wear it better. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So the verse is gone. That's a Mandela effect. I'm here today on, what is it, the 17th of June, 2019, to say that there's a new Mandela effect. And thankfully, there's a new one, because every time I go on Coast to Coast, the first thing George asks me is, hey, Jeff, what's new with the Mandela effect? So now I've got something to tell him. But what I wanted to get to that verse for was not necessarily to capture that verse word for word. Tracy says maybe we're just paraphrasing. I get that, Tracy, but I'm telling you that verse was there. I'd like to see what Wayne Steiger has to say about that. Mark Centersane says, I may address you, but I'll never address you in a dress. Well, thanks, Mark, because if you ever see me in a dress, just pretend like you don't know me, okay? Just walk on by. Pretend like you don't know me. And Tracy, very, very astute, says, when you Google it, there's a ton of references. So we've all thought it was there. It's like when you Google lion shall lie down with the lamb, you see a bunch of pictures of lions laying down with lambs, but the text is the wolf will lay down with the lamb. Yeah, Nancy, same thing, paraphrase, but it said it straight up. I'm telling you, cousins. So anyway, that is the Mandela effect. That's a new Mandela effect. Now you can surprise and impress everybody at the next time you show up to the Paranormal Date in-town meeting. Or next time you show up to Christian Mingle Live, or whatever these things are that people tell me about. Hilarious stuff. So, but let's get to the meat of what I wanted to convey to you through that verse. I wanted to convey this to you, and the best place that I can find it from, what I'm trying to convey, is in Romans chapter 12, verse number 2, 1, 2, 2. It's a catch-22 situation. Jeff, you say Paul is a false apostle. Yes, I do, and he is. Shadow Spirit says, Jeff, if I see you in a dress, I'm going to send Rocky to slap your ass. Rocky might like me in a dress. That's the only scary part. Lost my train of thought. What was I talking about? I completely, totally lost my train of thought. Thanks for that, Shadow Spirit. I really appreciate it. Anyway, we're talking about this whole idea of being in the world and not of the world. Oh, why do I talk about Paul when Paul's a false apostle? I talk about Paul because he's the false apostle. I read Paul's writings because he is the original antichrist against the anointing, against the flow, against the consecration. I talk against Paul or talk about Paul because he writes, thank you, Jennifer, Live Mandela. He writes in coded language and sometimes just in plain language how they plan to defeat us. And he also gives us, because he has to, I think for plausible deniability, Romans 12, 1, 2, 2, a catch 22 situation. Nancy's picking up what I'm putting down. Because they have plausible deniability. We told them how to win, and they chose not to win. How can you blame us for what they didn't do? It creates plausible deniability. And if I was Paul's attorney arguing before the barrister at the bar of the universe, I think I could probably, I don't know if I could get him off, but I could keep him out of the electric chair if there was a cosmic electric chair, which of course is a silly thing. But when he says, look, this is how you get free, this is how you beat us, and we choose not to do it, whose fault is it really? So anyway, let's get into this. Romans chapter 12, verse number 2, do not be conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to discern what is good, what is pleasing, and what the perfect will of God is. Please let this be theos. Boom, it is theos. I didn't look at it beforehand because I've shared with you before, theos, generally speaking, within the New Testament is the benevolent Elohim that created us. When you see Kyrios, that's generally speaking in the New Testament. Blue Rose says, I always lose my train of thought when I'm being slapped on the ass. That's what happened to me, Blue Rose. That's exactly what happened. And yeah, that thought pulled me right out of it. So it is what we're talking about, the perfect and pleasing will of the benevolent Elohim. If that's what they were, that's just the word we have. We know they were entities that came from somewhere else that created this place, including us. So we were, yes, created by ETs in the strictest understanding of the word. And I am fiddling with my Mystech bracelets. Let me show you those real quickly. This program really is brought to you in a large part by Mystech. My good friend Halo is the president, CEO, chief bottle washer, and everything in between. And these bracelets put you in the original Schumann resonance, removes the dis-ease from your body, the disharmony from your mind, and gives you a fighting chance to unindoctrinate yourself. I'm standing in a 850 plus consciousness field, according to the Hawking scale, and that's provided by focused life force energy. They will provide this, not a field of that strength, but a very high consciousness field to your cell phone or to your home. And you can have a 15-day trial on each. No credit card needed. No reason to cancel. It just runs out after 15 days. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, you can see Mystech, and you can see Focused Life Force Energy or Fluffy. And even though I say Jesus never saved you from anything, I'm actually wrong, because Jesus does save you 20% on Mystech. Jeffrey, I can always count on you for a daily dose of Bible deconstruction. Love it. And she loves to be slapped on the ass as well. Okay. Thanks for sharing. Anyway, don't be conformed to this world. The whole thing is that what we're trying to do, and if there's one thing that people want to know, it's what is the will of God? What is the good? What's the good? The intrinsically good, the good in nature. What is the intrinsically good? It's funny how this dovetails with what we just talked about at 11:11, and I didn't mean it that way. What is pleasing, well-pleasing, acceptable, and what is perfect? Perfect is that which reaches its end, that which is complete, nothing broken, nothing lacking, everything complete. Do you want that type of understanding of the divine? Yes or no? I'll wait. Well, of all people, Paul, the false apostle, is telling you how you can get it. That's why I read Paul's scriptures. That's why I still read the biblical scriptures, because it's the game plan of what they intend to do to us to defeat us and how we can win. So if you want those things, here's what you do, says the enemy of your soul. The guy that's designed to make sure it doesn't happen is telling you how you can make it happen. Number one, he says, do not be conformed. Do not conform to. Do not be similar to. Don't follow the same pattern. Don't identify with. Do you hear that? Don't follow the same pattern. Don't identify with. Don't be similar to what? To the world. Now, this word world, well, Jeff, the world can mean so many things. What's he talking about? He's talking about, oh, here we go. More synchronicity. This space of time, this age, this cycle of time. Don't be conformed to this cycle of time. Don't be conformed to this age. Don't be conformed to the type of thoughts that manifest predominantly in this world. And I ask you, and I know I'm going to stomp on the toes again of a lot of my compatriots within the Enlightenment so-called movement. What is this world today characterized by? It's characterized by fear. It's characterized by dread. It's characterized by pessimism. It's characterized by waiting for the next disaster to happen. If you disagree with me, sit down tonight at 6 p.m. in your local time zone and watch the news. One disaster after another. One bad report after another. That's the pattern of this world. And if you, as a awakened person, or if you, especially as a content, either as a content provider on YouTube, on your website, on your podcast, or as a content consumer of YouTube, of websites, of podcasts, of books, if you are producing or consuming fear-based, worry-based, disaster-based, oh my God based, it's all going to crash based, it's all going to burn based, it's bad based, you are conformed to this world. You're conformed to this present age. You are thinking just like the people in this age think. And I'm fighting an upward battle. I'm swimming against the stream, ladies and gentlemen. I keep hearing from all sides, Jeff, it's written. I hear from the Christians, it's written, it's prophecy, it's got to happen. Then I hear Nostradamus said it. This book said it. That book said it. It's got to happen. Then I hear the trends show, the science shows, it's got to happen. Prophecy is of this world. Science is of this world. The trends are of this world. And if you repeat them, so are you. And that's your choice. You can be of this world. But if you're of this world, you will never get to the good, pleasing, and perfect will of the divine. The enemy of your soul is telling you, if you don't want that stuff, then do this. So don't be conformed. Don't be conformed to this age, but be ye what? Transformed. Metamorpho. Transform. Transfigure. Change. Changing form in keeping with inner reality, not outer reality. Transfigured. Metamorphosized like a caterpillar to a cocoon. You can go along with this world and what they say, or you can transform this world. Jeff, you're such an optimist. You're so Pollyannish. I'm transformed. I'm not in accordance with this world. Jeff, you're a contrarian, a happy contrarian. Get it right. And I am, because I'm transformed. Well, that's just stupid. You're speaking things that don't matter. No, here's what I'm doing. I'm transformed. You know why I'm now transformed? Now I don't even have to do it mentally. I used to have to. I would have the same, oh my God, Planet X. Oh my God, financial crash. Oh my God, 5G. Oh my God, all of the things that we hear in the conspiratorium. I heard them all and thought the same thing. And I have to actually make myself, no, 5G is scary, but I'll bet you that we could put our harmony and our frequency and our energetics at a place where 5G can't penetrate us. Ooh, okay. Oh my God, all the current trends show, the market shows that there's going to be a financial collapse in the next 18 months. Well, it's also possible that the king of debt in the White House is going to do something unprecedented and we'll have financial abundance. I used to have to think of these things and make myself do it. But now that I've been and am continuing to be transformed, how did I do it? By the renewing of my mind. Renewal, changing, making my mind fresh and new, completing a process, new development. I had to work at being not conformed to this world, but being transformed. And I'm not showing you this, damn it. I had to work at not being conformed. I had to work at being transformed. Is it any joke that transformation, is it any wonder that transformation takes work? I had to work not to be conformed, not to be in accordance with, not to identify with, not to be similar in thought, word, or deed to what? To this world, to this present space, time, and age. And I have been transformed and continue to be transformed, changed, metamorphosis. Don't think like I used to do. Now I reflexively think in renewed terms. I instinctively, my first thought is no longer, oh my God, he's right, it's going to crash. It's like, I am God and maybe I can stop it. Boom! Whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, this just fell like that far and somehow I caught it and it didn't spill a drop. How about that? Now I automatically think in transformative, renewed terms because why? I went through the process of changing my heart. And out of the abundance of the heart, what? The mouth speaks. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And whatever's coming out of your mouth, cousin, whatever comes out of your mouth, it's in your heart. Oh, I'm just talking trash. No, it's in your heart. Want to know what's in a person's heart? Listen to what they say. Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And I had to renew and change my heart. And so do you if you want to be transformed. But only if you want to be transformed. It takes a renewing, a renewal, a change, a new development. It's a process that you need to work and complete. But only if you want to be transformed in the renewing of your mind. But if you do complete that, then you will know the good, the pleasing, and perfect will of God. And if you don't, you won't. Even if you think you do, you don't. Because you don't get it. Because your mind is still untransformed. Your mind is still unrenewed. And remember, what are we transforming? What are we renewing? That must have been a future thing. As I said, remember, but I haven't told you yet. Ooh, just kidding. By renewing, transforming what? Your mind. Your mind, your understanding, your reasoning faculty, your thinking, your reasoning, your mind, your mental capacity, your exercise of reflective thinking. Jeff, you're Pollyannish. Jeff, you're so optimistic. Jeff, you're not realistic. You're right. Jeff, you're a contrarian. You're right. But the word you're looking for is, Jeff, you're transformed because you've renewed your mind. Jeff, you're transformed because you renewed your mind. You don't think like we do anymore. You make us uncomfortable, Jeff. Get used to it. Jeff, you make us a little angry. Get used to it. Jeff, you're no fun at a party. Get used to it. I'm not here to make you feel good. I'm not here to pat you on your head and wipe your nose and pat you on your bottom, slap you in the ass, and send you on your way. I'm here to tell you, you know what? You can believe and say and do what you want to, but there's a better way. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if you do, instead of speaking gloom and doom, you'll begin to speak hope and promise. Instead of speaking catastrophe, you'll begin to speak possibility. Instead of speaking ruin, you will speak potential. And if you really believe, and this is the key, if you really believe that you have the power to manifest and change, you will. In fact, right now, you're manifesting. As long as you continue to talk about the disasters and all the same things that the world talks about, you continue to be conformed to this world, and you continue to reinforce and build this world. Your faith builds the matrix. You build the bars that keep us all in prison. Thanks a lot. But if you're transformed by renewing your mind and you think thoughts of love, peace, harmony, health, possibility, jubilee, guess what? That's the world that you help create. That's the world that you help create. What, may I ask you, is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of the divine? How did they first create this world? Let me show you. How did they first create this world? How did they first create this world? But Jeff, how do you know what the world of the divine, the will of the world of the will of the divine is? Well, in the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth. What was that earth like? Well, Jeremiah talked about what that earth was like. Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 23. You want to know what the will of the divine is for the world? Well, Jeremiah saw it, and he saw a beautiful contrast of what we're talking about right now. The wisdom of this world, the way of this world sees, ladies and gentlemen, an earth that is without form and void, or about to be. Financial collapse, 5G killing us, chemtrails, Planet X, Nibiru. That's what the world sees. That's what the untransformed mind sees, just the bad. But Jeremiah said, there used to be some mountains. I choose to see the mountains. There used to be men, healthy men, powerful men. I choose to see the men, not the fact that they are no longer there. I choose to see the birds. I choose to see the fruitful place, not the wilderness. I choose to see the prospering cities, not those broken down at what? The presence of the Lord in his fierce anger. Would you support me in seeing the beauty, in creating the beauty, in manifesting the beauty? I could probably do it myself, but I could use some help. Why don't you help a brother out? We have a choice. We have a choice. We can either curse the darkness or we can light a candle. We can be part of the problem or we can be part of the solution. And the classic thing is, and I'm talking a little bit about this with Robert Stanley tonight, and this is just this. I'm only saying this because it's just a classic example, I think, and it shows the spiritual application, I think, only it shows us in a really good physical, practical way. Voting. You're stupid if you vote. It's ridiculous. It's a waste of time. It never does anything. Oh, really? Well, the evidence is becoming overwhelming. I'm going to ask Robert Stanley about this tonight. The evidence has become overwhelming that in the 2016 election, white hats, good guys, and probably good girls, whether they were off-world, whether they were military, is irrelevant. But seeing that the Democratic Party and the forces aligned with the Democratic Party were going to steal the 2016 election in the favor of Hillary Clinton, white hats moved in and made sure that the real and proper vote was counted. Well, if we listen to all of our friends in the enlightened movement, in the high consciousness, quote unquote, movement that tell us, voting's stupid, don't vote, you're wasting your time, you're part of the system, man. Well, then the white hats in 2016 would have moved in and enforced a Hillary Clinton victory. If they're truly white hats, if they're truly benevolent, they're not going to go against the will, the manifested, demonstrated will of the people. So if I had stayed home and not voted for Donald Trump, then the white hats would not have been able to move in and enforce an electoral victory for Donald Trump. So tell me again how voting is stupid and worthless and unspiritual. Just a practical, natural example of the spiritual truth that I'm trying to convey. You can blow sunshine up dresses all day long. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. That's where you're wrong. Because whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. Whether you think we can or you think we can't, you're right. But guess what? Whether you think I can or I can't is completely irrelevant. I am being transformed by the renewing of my being, and I'm no longer conformed to this world. That's why I know the good, perfect will of the divine, and that's why I communicate it to you every single day. And if you don't like to hear good news, then you probably don't want to listen anymore. If you don't want to hear possibilities, then you might not want to listen anymore. If you don't want to hear a best case scenario, don't listen to me. But interestingly enough, I don't make many predictions, but I've never made one publicly that was wrong. I'm just saying. It's up to you. You live in your world. You create your world. You do what you want to do. I'm just giving you some things to think about. Then why didn't they throw Hillary Clinton out when she stole the election from Bernie Sanders? Because they didn't care about the Democratic nomination. They cared about the national election. That's the answer to that question. Be a fractal of the Godhead. Yes, perfect. Trump is guided by Tesla, says Lit T. Maybe. Where can I read about this? Read about what, brother? Trump seems divinely guided. Yes and no. Yes and no. Trump's bought and paid for, but he has leeway. Hopefully he's got enough to get more good stuff done. We can build it. Yes, we can. You're making me feel much better about breaking my usual no vote pattern to vote for Trump. Early on, I thought he was unique. So did I, Leah Michelle. And I wasn't voting either, but something made me go back and vote for Trump. I think it was the influence, the esoteric, energetic influence of that benevolent party, whether they be white hats on earth, military, or off-world, said, hey, go vote, give us the universal judicial right to enforce the election. A true white hat, a true good guy can't steal an election for Donald Trump any more than they could steal one for Hillary Clinton. If Clinton had got the most electoral votes, the white hats, be they off-world or on-world, would have made sure she was in the White House. So please tell me again how Voting makes no difference. You know what? It makes no difference to a mind conformed to this world, but to a transformed mind, a renewed mind, it's like, duh. That's all I will say about that. From a practicality standpoint, when your country goes 80% for one party, your vote doesn't count anymore. Wolf Weaver, that's never happened. But it probably happened in a Reagan election, the one where he beat Mondale. But I mean, I could have done better than Mondale. And I don't even know if Reagan got 80%. We did manifest him. We need to make sure we keep doing it. I agree. Are you serious? Philip Blair as a shark attack. Tracy says no aliens. I don't know if she's joking or not, but it could have been. The frequency of mind is choosing vibrations, and it creates magic. It really does. Let's see. I never get what I want when I vote. They should at least pay me to do it. Nah, you don't want to get paid because then you're bought and paid for. You have to vote to keep the balance, be the candle, not the flames of scorched earth. I love it. I really do. Tracy Dyer, sounding like the old Jeff. She says, you're stupid if you don't vote. I probably would have went with lazy, Tracy, but I get you. I feel you, girl. I refuse to be surrounded by negativity, says Serial Dog. Damn straight Jeff, says Wolf Weaver. Thank you. Jennifer loves her some beauty. Let's see. I love your message, Jeff. It makes me, I'm not sure what she means, but thank you. Thank you very much. We need the highest frequency. I agree 100%. What else we got here? Contrary to whom? Some ancient rewritten text. Pish posh. I love the way you speak. Fan of everything. I'm not going to run through much more of these. They also glamorize the apocalypse in shows and movies. Absolutely. Don't buy it. I'll bet you're the life of the party, Jeff. Well, it depends upon how you define life. It's never boring. It's never boring. That's so funny. Cynthia likes that better. Everyone help by doing the same. Visualize all 5G towers self-destructing and falling over. I'll share somebody's vision with you. She said that she got tired of complaining about chemtrails. I don't know if this is true or not, but it registers in here. So she started, when she saw a chemtrail, I think she said forgiving the pilot, forgiving the people that, like speaking favor and basically telling the chemtrails to go away. And so now, over her place and in her reality, guess what? There's no more chemtrails. Oh, Jeff, that's crazy. Is it crazy? Here's what's crazy, and I'm going to ask Robert Stanley about this. Consider micro, miniature, multiverse manifestations. Micro, miniature, multiverse manifestations. Imagine, if you will, because it's true, that we're living in a soup of multiverse waves. All time, all space, and all permutations of time and space are surrounding us all the time. And if they're waves, which they probably are, then sometimes they overlap. You ever talk to somebody and it's like you're speaking two different languages? Maybe they're in a different miniature multiverse manifestation. And there's just no way to communicate. Sometimes your spouse seems like a different person. Well, there's different spouses in different multiverses, and maybe you got crossed over for a minute or two. Maybe the girl that sees the no chemtrail, she's manifested that in her miniature multiversal manifestation, and she doesn't have them. But you see them in yours. She's crazy. No, she's just in charge. Large and in charge of her own miniature, multidimensional manifestation. And yours, you haven't taken control of. Just a thought. And if you don't like the miniature, multiple, multiverse manifestation that you're in right now, go to another one. Geez, my husband's a jerk in this one. I'll go to another one. Boop. Hi, honey. He's back. My wife's a you know what in this one. A jerk. I'll go to another one. Boop. She's back. I'm being a jerk in this one. Let me phase to a different reality, a different multiple manifestation of this multiversal multiplicity, multitudinous manifestations. Let me pick a better one. That's something for you to think on the rest of the day. I may be back with some more podcast excellence today between now and 9 p.m. Central, where we have The Last Stand with Jay Campbell and the one, the only, Robert Stanley. Or I might not. I might be in some other multiversal manifestations, doing some manifestation stuff over there. I'm not sure. The day is young. Ladies and gentlemen, we did have a new Mandela effect that has been discovered. And we can be transformed by the renewing of our mind, so we'll know the good, perfect, and pleasing will of the divine, or we can continue to be in conformity and of the same mind and thought and speech as this current age is. It's up to you. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. If it's something that's going to be, if you're going to do, it's up to you. What kind of world do you want to live in? Go make it. We're the last generation, ladies and gentlemen, of real humans. History's written by the winners. And since we're the last generation of real humans, I say, let's get busy winning today, and together we'll write a better tomorrow. Who's with me?